Beyoncé Knowles-Carter, a name that moves like a spotlight, always gliding to the center of the room no matter where you set it down. Say it in a whisper, and it still sounds like an announcement. Say it in an arena, and it lands like a drum hit. She is the rare kind of artist whose life reads like a blueprint. Talent sharpened into mastery, ambition organized into strategy, grace alloyed with steel. Long before the stadium lights and billion-stream anthems, before the couture and the super yachts, there was a girl in Houston, Texas, learning that performance is both an art and a discipline. Her mother, Tina, ran a salon where conversation and style were currency. Her father, Matthew, ran numbers and plans with a mind built for sales, structure, and scale. Between the mirrors and the ledgers, a young Beyoncé absorbed two lessons that would define her empire. Presentation is power, and power must be managed. In that neighborhood of family and hustle, she trained the way prodigies train. Endless repetitions, the unglamorous hours when your lungs burn and your legs ache, and you do it again anyway. She sang in talent shows that were supposed to be cute and turn competitive. She learned to place a note and hold it, to aim her eyes and hold those too. When her father formed a girl group, the expectation wasn't luck, it was work. Girls' time rehearsed the way teams practice before a championship. Not until they got it right, but until they couldn't get it wrong. Early setbacks didn't end the story, they thickened it. Losing on national TV didn't shrink the dream, it sized the dream correctly. They changed members, changed their name, changed their sound. Eventually, they became Destiny's Child and signed a contract that would open the door to a decade of domination. Destiny's Child didn't edge into the late 90s pop conversation. They rewrote the closing arguments. Radio bent toward them. No, no, no. Bills, bills, bills. Say my name. Survivor. Hooks that turned into habits. Harmonies that sounded like chrome. Lyrics that taught a whole generation the grammar of independence. The staging was immaculate. The style was deliberate. The message was unmistakable. Beyoncé stood at the center like a fulcrum, the place where the camera settled and stayed. She wasn't just singing, she was studying. She watched set lists like they were equations, noted how lighting makes a chorus feel bigger, learned how pacing turns a show into a story. She learned that quality at scale is engineering as much as inspiration. When Destiny's Child took their bow, the world understood. The group had made history, but Beyoncé was about to make an era. The solo debut arrived like a siren. Dangerously in Love wasn't only successful, it was sovereign. Crazy in Love detonated across radio and clubs, the kind of single that resets the thermostat in every room it enters. Awards piled in, but more importantly, leverage did. Beyoncé didn't use that leverage to disappear into indulgence. She used it to build infrastructure. Each era after that carried a thesis. Bey was kinetic and unapologetic, a frame-by-frame showcase for a performer who could dance like a metronome and sing like a cathedral. I Am Sasha Fierce split the persona into glass and flame, giving the world a ritual and single ladies that jumped from screens to weddings, to parades, to stadiums, until you couldn't remember a time before the hand flick and the heel hit. And then she changed the release calendar forever. The self-titled visual album dropped at midnight without a whisper of warning. Full cinema attached to full songs, an artist taking control of method, message, and moment. Lemonade followed with a narrative built from marrow and memory, fidelity and fracture, ancestry and agency, music that traveled through kitchens and classrooms and headlines as if it had been waiting to be sung for decades. Renaissance returned joy to the center of the club, honoring Black queer dance culture and building a glittering temple to freedom and sweat. And with Cowboy Carter, Beyoncé made a country record that sounded like both history and invention, a Southern story told with modern theater and master craftsmanship, collapsing imaginary borders between genres and reminding the market that she does not visit spaces, she expands them. The tours that carried those eras did not tour, they conquered. A Beyoncé stadium night feels engineered by NASA and styled by the gods. LED walls the size of apartment buildings flicker into worlds. Risers rise with precision. A camera crew glides like choreography. The choreography locks like machinery. She sings live with studio accuracy while moving like an athlete, and the audio never frays. Wardrobe is not clothing, it's sculpture you can dance in. One night can be 6 silhouettes, 6 entirely different arguments for glamour. She will hold a note so clean it sounds edited, then land a heel exactly where a snare drum lands, and in that second you understand that the word perfectionism doesn't fit her. She makes the standard, and whatever doesn't reach it is invisible. Financially, touring is her mint, the machine that embosses artistry into 9 figures. But the empire is diversified on purpose. Beyoncé's 2025 net worth is widely estimated in the mid to high 9 figures, often in the 750 to 800 million range. And the shape of that wealth explains the staying power. It's music income and publishing, it's touring and film projects, it's Parkwood Entertainment, a company designed to carry creative control from brainstorm through opening night. It's selective brand partnerships that align with her image rather than dilute it. It's fashion plays that feel like culture, not merch. Ivy Park redefines celebrity athleisure with a luxury lens. Sharp silhouettes, inclusive sizing, drops that vanished in hours. Proof that when she lends her name, she expects the product to keep up with the myth. Endorsements have never been random billboards. They are chess moves. Beauty, jewelry, beverages, technology. She chooses spaces where excellence and aesthetics can shake hands. And then she makes campaigns into moments. She and Jay-Z hold equity in platforms that let artists capture more of the value they create. She invests like she performs. Long-term, considered with a high intolerance for sloppy. Her real estate portfolio reads like a catalog of modern opulence and historic character. In Los Angeles, a Bel Air compound with walls of glass that let the city glitter while it stays outside. Multiple pools that act like kinetic art. Bullet-resistant windows, a 15-car garage that stores more than transportation. It stores stories. In the Hamptons, lawns that look brushed, rooms that look curated, the Atlantic whispering just beyond the hedges. In New Orleans, a property with bones older than fashion cycles. Proof that luxury can smell like wood in history. In Houston, roots made concrete. These are not merely houses, they are sanctuaries where schedules loosen, where Beyoncé can move like a person rather than a phenomenon. On the road, private aviation is not a trophy, but a tool. Security, control, time reclaimed from the chaos of terminals. Vacations are not postcards. They are film stills. Breakfast on a sun deck under a sky so blue it looks painted. The ocean turning from lapis to ink while the yacht throws a white wake behind it. Children's laughter mixing with the clink of ice in glasses. Jewelry is punctuation. Necklaces and cuffs and rings that light the air when she turns. Custom pieces from master jewelers that look inevitable once you've seen them, because she makes them feel like they always belong there. Fashion is a language she speaks with perfect grammar and spectacular vocabulary. On tour, couture becomes athletic gear that refuses to look like it. In editorials, silhouettes make headlines without words. Collaborations with the great houses are dialogues, not advertisements. Mutual elevation, her presence making designs look canonical. Designers work framing her so the eye can't decide what to love first. Yet for all the gleam, there is ballast. Beyoncé's philanthropy sits inside the structure of the brand rather than beside it. With Bey Good and a network of partners, money moves where headlines sometimes forget to look. After floods and fires, towards students with talent but not tuition, toward small business owners who needed a bridge to stay open, toward mental health programs that catch people before they fall, toward community projects that make neighborhoods feel like families. In crisis years, she moved millions. In quieter seasons, she seeds resources in ways that help people grow rather than only survive. She understands that celebration without service becomes brittle, and she treats giving like infrastructure. You can't see it in every photo, but everything above it stands taller because it exists. Family is both circle and shield. Her marriage to Sean Carter, Jay-Z, is a headline that the world never tires of writing, and yet the reality lives behind a door that only opens on purpose. They have turned private milestones into art when it suited them, alchemizing pain into music and forgiveness into motion. Their combined net worth sits comfortably above the billion mark, but the more impressive figure is time. Time spent building, recalibrating, protecting, raising 3 children in a house where excellence is a daily habit, but where privacy is still a right. Blue Ivy has already begun to stitch her own line into the tapestry, on stage beside her. Mother on records as a voice and a name, in history as a Grammy winner, still learning algebra. The twins, Rumi and Sir, grow under the wide umbrella of their parents' protection, glimpsed but not consumed. Beyoncé's ability to remain known and unknowable at once is a feat of modern brand architecture. She keeps the mystery oxygenated so the flame never gutters. And then there is the BeyHive, a fan base that acts less like an audience and more like an organized nation. They have immigration policies, inside jokes only citizens recognize. They have a Department of Defense, swift, relentless, often hilarious. They have a Department of Commerce. Merch sells out because the Hive treats release days like holidays. They have a Department of Culture, memes, edits, trend waves that crest on command. Beyoncé does not feed that machine hourly. She respects the ecology of appetite. Silence becomes seasoning. When she speaks, they listen. When she releases, they mobilize. She could crash platforms by uploading a thumbnail. She can trend by changing a profile photo. In a world drowning in content, she curates absence. And somehow that absence feels intimate. Professionally, 2025 finds Beyoncé operating in rare air. Decades into a career with the velocity of a newcomer. Proof that reinvention isn't about erasing what came before, but about increasing resolution. The post-Renaissance era has expanded into a southern-tinged frontier with Cowboy Carter, showing that genres are business walls, not art walls. On stages around the world, she continues to deliver the kind of live show that ruins other live shows for you. The voice is intact, the precision intact, the appetite intact. In boardrooms, the machine hums. Parkwood directing multi-platform releases like symphonies, partners vetted, negotiations clean. In studios, she builds in layers, harmonies that feel architectural, arrangements that reveal themselves like rooms as you walk through them, bridges that solve songs the way a key solves a lock. The money reflects the mastery, yes, but the mastery is the point. Numbers are a scoreboard. The legacy is the game. Her catalog is an asset class. Streaming checks are not pocket change. They are rivers. Licensing selects placements carefully so that the music ages like a classic car. Driven, admired, never overexposed. She owns her image without letting it own her. She manages scale without letting it flatten nuance. She collaborates with veterans and newcomers in ways that let both be larger. Around her orbit, industries tilt. Fashion calendars respond. Award shows become more interesting when she attends. Cities feel louder during her tour weeks. And the press writes in a different tense. Not past, not even present, but ongoing. If you pull back further, the story coheres into something more than a resume. It's a case for excellence as a lifestyle. It's the argument that greatness is reproducible if you're willing to build scaffolding strong enough to hold it. It's proof that glamour does not have to be hollow and that privacy does not have to be cold. It's a study in how to be impossible to replace. She is not just a voice or a dancer, or a face or a name. She is the integration of all four, multiplied by taste and multiplied again by discipline. She made early decisions about ownership, about the value of her time, about the tone of her public life, about when to let light in and when to close the blinds. Those decisions compound. They buy you silence when you need it. They buy you leverage when you want it. They buy you the right to step into a new genre without explaining yourself. They buy you a career that is both mountain and city, solid and alive. Talk of net worth will always circle her like paparazzi. Estimates hovering in the hundreds of millions, new revenue spikes with each tour, new valuations as catalog and real estate appreciate. But money here is not the headline even when it is the news. The headline is durability. She has made still here into an art form. She is made better now into a habit. People measure wealth in square footage and carats. Beyoncé measures wealth in control, in the ability to make the work she imagines and deliver it without compromise to a world that shows up for it. Ask the fans how they view her, and you'll hear words like standard, blueprint, mother, icon, the moment and the movement. Ask the industry, and you'll hear quieter words that mean the same thing. Bankable, meticulous, vision, scale. She is somehow both the safest bet and the boldest move. Ask the culture at large and you'll see the answer rather than hear it. Halloween becomes a parade of her eras. Wedding dance floors resurrect single ladies. Little girls learn posture from her posture and entire aesthetics. Track back to looks she wore once because once is all she needs. Where does that leave her today? It leaves her exactly where she planned to be, at the helm of a ship she designed, sailing waters she mapped, toward coasts she can see before others remember there's an ocean. She can mount residencies that feel like living museums. She can put her archives on screens and teach a generation how to rehearse. She can build companies that look like the future and foundations that quietly fix the past. She can vanish for a season and return to the kind of silence that sounds like a held breath. Then break it with a single note that tells the world what year it is. And she will do it with that same union of velvet and steel that's carried her from a Houston salon to the top of the global marquee. In the end, it's simple and it isn't. She sings, live, on key, with power and soul. She dances, clean, complex, unflagging. She designs eras, looks, stages, strategies. She gives money, opportunities, maps. She protects family, time, art. She scales without losing the fingerprint that makes the work hers. The riches are not decorations, they are receipts. The homes are not backdrops, they are havens. The gowns are not costumes, they are armor and celebration. The numbers are not luck, they are the mathematics of mastery. Beyoncé Knowles-Carter stands in 2025 as proof that legacy is not a thing that happens to you. It is a thing you build. One disciplined decision, one audacious idea, one transcendent performance at a time. And that is exactly why crowds still roar when the lights go down and her silhouette appears. Why designers sketch with her in mind. Why brands wait for her nod. Why young artists study her as if she were a course. Why cities feel a little wealthier when her tour buses pull in. The lights do not just reflect off her, they originate with her, and then they teach everything around them how to shine. This has been Affluence Influenced.